Update. Am I the a-hole for agreeing to an open relationship, then sleeping with someone else? Original post. My girlfriend 24 female and I 23 male have been going through a tough time lately, and things finally boiled over in the past few days. We've been together for 3 years and things were going well for the most part. We rarely fought, and even when we did, we'd cool down and talk it out soon after. But about 2 weeks ago, my girlfriend asked if I'd be open to the idea of an open relationship. I was completely shocked at first and even thought she might be joking. She said she loves me and wants to stay together, but before we get more serious, she wants to gain more experience. I'm her first serious partner and she's been with 2 other guys before me. I told her I wasn't comfortable with it and turned down the idea. She kept pushing, but eventually backed off when she realized I wasn't going to change my mind, and I thought that was the end of it. However, a few days later, she brought it up again, this time more aggressively, and said we might need to take a break if I couldn't agree to try opening up the relationship for a few months. I felt cornered because it was either take a break or agree to this. So I eventually gave in and said we could try an open relationship. 2 days later, last Friday, I came home from work and saw her dressed up. I asked what she was getting ready for, and she said she was going out to the bar with her friends and wouldn't be back until the next day. I immediately realized what this meant and asked if she'd rather stay in with me instead. She said she really wanted to go out, so she left, and I was left at home alone, drinking and watching TV. Feeling sad, I called one of my close friends, 23 female, and told her about the situation. After talking for a while, I asked if she wanted to come over and drink with me, since I was feeling pretty down. She came over and we hung out, drinking and talking about the open relationship and how upset I was. My friend suggested that if my girlfriend was basically cheating on me, I might as well enjoy the perks of an open relationship too. You can probably guess what happened next, and I won't go into details, but it made me feel a lot better. The next morning, I woke up to my girlfriend freaking out, asking what the heck my friend and I were doing in our bed. I told her what happened, and she got mad. She said she didn't even do anything the night before, and ended up crashing at her friend's house. Now she wants to close the relationship again, and says I need to prove my loyalty for cheating on her. We never set any rules or boundaries, so I don't really see how I did anything wrong. So am I the a-hole for participating in the open relationship that my girlfriend suggested? Now for the top comments before reading the update. This relationship isn't equal. Just break it off. She had big expectations of her ability to pull men and wanted to get it out of her system. You didn't have to even try, so she's angry. Not the a-hole, but don't pretend this is salvageable. Yeah, I'm accepting the fact that there's no coming back from this. Not the a-hole. Your girlfriend already had her eyes on someone, and that's why she pushed for the open relationship as aggressively as she did. I call BS that she didn't do anything with anyone the night before. She got some action from someone who just wanted to get laid, and was now going back to her safe boyfriend. She just wasn't expecting you to also have options. I'm visualizing this. You waking up half hungover with sleep in your eyes, she's yelling, and you saying, "What's wrong? Was this against the rules? I didn't know you wouldn't want us doing things in our bed. This is classic." My friend and I were just being drunk and reckless. Lol. I really didn't even consider she would be mad at what I was doing because it's exactly what we agreed to. You are the dude. Your relationship is probably over, but you really gave her a taste of her medicine. I salute you. I did what had to be done. This relationship is cooked though. Not the a-hole. Dump the girlfriend and date the friend. Update 2 months later. A lot of people were asking how the whole situation played out, so I wanted to give an update. It's been an incredibly hectic month, but things have started to settle down and I'm ready to share what happened. First off, my girlfriend and I officially broke up a few days after my original post. It wasn't pretty. She kept calling me a cheater and telling me what a POS I was for cheating on her. I put up with it for a few days while I tried to figure out what to do, but eventually I snapped. I should have kept my cool, but I told her, "You're genuinely the stupidest person I've ever met for thinking an open relationship would work out. It's your fault everything blew up." I explained that I played by her rules, and it wasn't my fault that I found someone to hook up with faster than she did. She claimed she didn't want to cheat on me. She just wanted to explore, and that I should have understood. We argued in circles for a while until I finally told her to get out of my apartment. I'm the one who pays rent and has my name on the lease. I had to threaten to call the cops before she realized I was serious. Of course, she broke down crying, saying she had nowhere to go and that she loved me and wanted to make things work. But I stood firm and told her to leave. Once she was gone, I immediately felt better and realized that the relationship had been terrible for me. The next day, I called up my friend, the one I slept with in the original post, and asked if she wanted to come over, drink, and play some games. She said yes, and of course we ended up hooking up again. My ex came by the following day to pick up the rest of her stuff, and let me tell you, she was not happy to see my friend there. She didn't start anything, but it was obvious by her behavior that she was seething. After that, my friend and I started talking more, and eventually I asked her out. She said yes, and we've been together for about a month now. To say this relationship is healthier would be an understatement. We've been friends for a long time, and I think we both always had a bit of a thing for each other, but we never acted on it until my ex basically handed us the perfect opportunity. We have a lot more in common, and we communicate so much better. So far, this relationship has been amazing. Thank you all for the advice on a previous post. I really appreciate it. Not the a-hole. She was clearly not on the same page about the open relationship and tried to manipulate you with accusations and guilt trips. You held your ground, and it sounds like you ended up in a much better situation. Yeah, I'm a lot happier now. I'm confused about what your ex thought being in an open relationship meant. She goes out and have her fun, while OP stays at home and wait for her. Not the a-hole. I guess your ex thought that she would be the only one sleeping with other people, but it did not go according to plan. But as soon as someone brings up opening the relationship, it's already over. But here is something to watch out for. Your ex will now try to make you look like the bad guy. Don't let her control the narrative, and talk to your friends, her parents, your parents, everyone that you both know, why you broke up. Don't expect your ex to just accept this. She will try to destroy you if she can't have you. My friends never really liked her, so they didn't believe her anyway. And my current girlfriend is part of my friend group. And my friends have told us that they always knew we'd end up together, based on how well we got along and how much we have in common. Next story. Am I the a-hole for ending my engagement because of his demands about our prenup? I, female 37, recently received a lump sum for a career project that turned into a full-blown company. I entered into an agreement with another company that's been reselling my services through out-licensing and long-term corporate partnerships. When I signed the paperwork, I felt I had a chance to build a solid financial future while keeping my personal life intact. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case, and now I'm seriously considering breaking off my engagement. My fiancé Sean, male 43, and I have been together for 4 years. I met him when I was in the final stages of building my business, which has been the driving force in my life. Between that and my family, I barely had time for anything else, including dating. But when Sean came along, I was completely swept off my feet. He had a great sense of humor, and I was really attracted to him, both emotionally and physically. Sean is divorced and has average office skills, working for a small government agency. The salary gap between us didn't bother me at first. I was investing most of my money into my business, and my personal priorities, like taking care of my family, were non-negotiable. Sean and I were both struggling financially when we met, and he was briefly on food stamps. But I was happy to be with someone who didn't pressure me to be someone I wasn't, unlike my previous relationship where my ex criticized my appearance and style. We even tried starting a small consulting company together, but it didn't work out. I noticed that Sean wasn't ready to co-manage, and after a long conversation, we mutually decided to drop the idea. When Sean proposed, we had already talked about a prenup. It wasn't a surprise, and even if I had nothing, I saw it as a way to protect us both. I work in a niche market dealing with loss prevention, and I've seen how quickly things can turn legal. However, when we started drafting the prenup, things became tense. Sean shut down during our second meeting with a lawyer, and nothing we had previously agreed on was being followed. He started making more demands and raising the bar on what he wanted. He even hired his own lawyer without telling me, which would have been fine if he had communicated it, but he didn't. Things escalated when he demanded that I give his daughter shares of my company. That was a firm no from me. I started a company long before Sean was in the picture, and I built it to secure a future for my own kids. I will not create a trust fund for his child either, something else he asked for during the prenup discussion. I did agree to help his daughter financially by contributing to her education, paying for health insurance, and giving her an allowance. She's 18 now and has a successful mom who is also contributing, but I offered to help with some of her expenses. However, none of this seemed to be enough for Sean. He kept pushing for more, and I started feeling like nothing I did would ever be good enough. What frustrated me the most was that Sean didn't have a plan for contributing to my children's future. When I asked what he would do for my kids, he was silent. So I asked if my kids' names could go on a deed to a piece of land he owns but hasn't been able to develop. He was shocked and accused me of trying to take away his daughter's inheritance. I was just trying to make him see my perspective, but it only made things worse. Our relationship has deteriorated since then. We used to be able to talk openly, but now every conversation feels sarcastic and bitter. He's called me greedy and accused me of not caring about his daughter. He says I've shown my true colors and claims I've been dishonest about how I feel about his child. His last messages have been especially hurtful, and it's making me question everything. I love his daughter, but I didn't raise her, and she has a mother who is actively supporting her. My kids are still in grade school, and I need to prioritize their future. I'm not opposed to helping all of our children, but I can't be the only one contributing, while Sean makes no efforts for my kids. Now, canceling the engagement seems like the most sensible option. I'm devastated that it's come to this, and I didn't expect our relationship to end this way. My best friend is furious and wants to put him on blast if he keeps up the hurtful comments. Am I the a-hole for prioritizing my kids' future and standing firm on my boundaries? Now for the comments before the mini update. Sounds like his true colors are finally showing, now that it's down to the wire. He tried to strong-arm you into things for his benefit. And when you wouldn't do it his way, threw a fit. Honestly, you dodged a bullet. I have a feeling this has been his game plan all along. You're successful, he's not. You've got money, he doesn't. I mean, the writing is on the wall. Ex-wife is apparently wealthy too. He most likely targets them. Male gold diggers exist too. Ex sounds extremely well off. So why would her daughter even need OP to give her an allowance and help pay for her car? OP shouldn't have offered, but did the right thing, kicking his manipulative gold-digging mooch to the curb. Not a-hole. He's a 43-year-old man with an adult child who has an active mother and father. She shouldn't even be a consideration in your prenup. You owe her nothing. No house, no car, no trust fund, and definitely no shares in your company. She's not your child, and you didn't raise her. For me, your post sounds like you have the love goggles on and haven't been seeing all the red flags for the last 4 years. He's showing you his true colors. If you have stay with him, stay unmarried. This, you're giving his 18-year-old daughter, who has 2 parents, one of whom is well off, an allowance and help paying for a car. And you're going to pay her health insurance and contribute to her college housing and her tuition. And your fiancé is pitching a fit that is not enough? And the way he rolled up with his own lawyer to start making demands on your money? Balls, man. Dude sounds like a grifter. Update. I broke up with him since the whole deal felt like a bitter divorce rather than a step towards married life. Last story. My 36 female fiancé 30 male wants to be added to my mortgage/title of home, but I think he's being unreasonable. Am I the a-hole? My fiancé is really upset that I won't add him to the mortgage or the title of the house I'm buying for us. He's not putting any money down because he has a lot of student loan debt and can't help with any of the home improvements either. I'm older than him and make more than twice what he makes. It's nothing personal. I would never kick him out, but I've worked really hard and made smart financial decisions to get to this point. I'm even taking money out of my retirement savings to use as a down payment. Honestly, I can't even add him to the mortgage because his debt-to-income ratio is way too high. He has more debt than he earns each year. He feels like this means I don't see us as a team. But I've always paid for most things when we go on vacation, like rental cars, hotels, and most of the food. When we lived together, I paid for more rent, groceries, and other things. I'm even paying for our wedding in full. I paid for my own engagement ring because he couldn't afford it. He's planning to pay me back when he gets further along in his career. I know he would pay for things if he could, but I don't feel comfortable putting him on the title or mortgage right now. I just don't think it makes sense. And I also want to protect the investments I've worked so hard for. He's a really good guy, just broke. Has always been, but I know that won't last because he's very motivated and finishing school soon. What do you think? Am I being unreasonable? He was really upset when I told him I wouldn't add him to the mortgage or title. And it would also mess up our interest rate and borrowing options because of all his debt. He keeps saying I don't see us as a team, even though I pay for so much and never complain. I don't lose sleep over it at all. I've always seen us as equals. Not the a-hole. He has no shame. When he starts earning and is debt-free and ready to contribute to the household, you guys can have that discussion then. That's how I feel. Once his debt is reduced and he has a solid income. Correction. Later on, when he can come down with the same down payment you put down, then only if you wish you can add him. However, with what happens nowadays, I wouldn't. What's yours before marriage is yours after the marriage. You worked really hard and were smart with your money. Don't put your future at risk when you don't have to. Also, prenup. Him insisting on this matter is a red flag, and I wouldn't consider going ahead with the marriage. Maybe I should look into prenup more. Not the a-hole. It wouldn't be a sound decision to add him for all the reasons you stated. When his career takes off and he gets his DTI under control and can contribute to the costs of the mortgage and maintenance, then it would be reasonable to consider refinancing under both your names and adding him to the deed. In the meantime, if you don't have a will, you could have one drafted where if you pass during the marriage, he will inherit the home via probate. It gives him a measure of security while still protecting your interests and assets. This is great advice. Thank you. I will share these ideas with him. Part of being a team is contributing financially as well as in other ways. It sounds like financially he will only be paying off his debt initially. Until he starts contributing financially to your team, keep finances separate, including the house.